Hello, my name's Laura and somebody asked me to make a video about, or a tutorial about how to make a spider. New glasses, I don't know if I like them. Yeah, anyway. I'm a hair scraped back and I haven't got any makeup on and I don't look like a normal YouTube, like I'm not one of these posh YouTubers that can do amazing editing and stuff. So I'm just gonna, I might be able to cut some bits in the video in, but if it ends up being a really long video, I'm sorry. Feel free to fast forward through the bits you don't want to watch. So a spider, I make spiders. Okay, first things first, there is no one right way to do anything. This is art and creativity. And so if you do something one way and it works for you, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to show you the way I do them. You don't have to do them that way. It's just, everyone's different, aren't they? So I chose, actually, I'll just show you what I've got in terms of beads. I'm on holiday, by the way. So I've got 22 gauge and 20 gauge copper wire, and I've got a selection of beads, and I don't know, the way I do things, which is not the way everyone else does them, is, oh, it's all wonky now, is I just kind of make it up as I go along. So I don't know exactly what beads I'm going to use yet. We'll just see what works. But I do know that I'm going to use this one for its body. This is a really big, I don't know what, it's plastic or resin, but I don't know what you would call it, like a fancy bead or a sorry, that's the dog tip tapping around in the background. What would you call that? What are they called? I don't know, a big bead anyway. I think that's about 2 centimetres. Go away, dog. That's going to be the body. I've been looking around seeing what I want to use for the head. We want a bead that's a bit smaller but not too small. So I've got loads of beads from everywhere. I like going to charity shops and finding beads. So I found that one, which is kind of a grey, hang on, there we go, a grey rondelle, clear. I didn't really like that one. Then I was looking at these ones, which are more clear, and they're kind of a teardrop shape or a water drop shape. And I was thinking that could work, but I also thought it looks a little bit like a tortoise. So then I found this one, which I got in a job lot of beads that I bought, and I thought that one probably fits quite well. So I'm going to use those two. So that's the head and the body. And so for the main part for the body, I'm going to use the 20 gauge wire. And you don't really need very much. You need basically the length of those two added together, plus a little bit more for, you need a loop at the head at one end and a loop at the tail at the other end, and you're going to hang it off the tail to hang it up, so it's like it's sort of going down like that. So I'm not going to cut off a huge amount, probably. I always cut off a lot more than I'm going to need, so that's, I'll cut off a little bit more. Oh. Every time you cut the wire, and if I don't hold it because I'm not concentrating, all over the place. Okay, so that's going to be my body, and that is probably about 15 centimetres. It's way too much, but I prefer using a bit too much. Right, on the bottom of it, I'm going to put, excuse me, I'm peering over my glasses because I'm old. I'm going to put a loop, and I'm just going to do it once. Yeah, one loop, one pin loop like that, but I'm not going to straighten it up. I'm just going to do it so it's like a P. And then I'm going to place the body onto the end of it. Now, I'm going to have to make the loop a bit bigger because that bead has got quite a big aperture. So I'll make it a bit bigger by going a bit further up my what are these called? Round nose pliers. Okay, so you can see that's a bit bigger now. Right, so that is going into the body like that, and now what we're going to do is add some legs. So for the legs, I'm going to use the 22 gauge because it's a little bit thinner, and well, that's what I do. So straightening up the end of the wire just by running it through my fingers. It's not going to get super straight, but so for the legs, you're going to have 4 pieces of wire, and they're going to be on either side, 4 pieces on either side, which makes 8 legs. But again, I usually cut them quite long. It just gives you flexibility when you make it. So what's that? Probably I don't know, 25 centimeters, 20 to 25 centimeters, something like that. Cut 1. Ooh. 2. You can see when I'm cutting the wire, I hold it up, get the ends together at the top. So instead of measuring it, because I'm lazy, or I don't know what, I just never have a ruler with me, go down to the bottom. But right, okay, little tip. When you are, let me uncross my legs. When you are cutting the bottom, don't cut it like that without holding it here. Hold it there with your last 2 fingers, then cut it. Then you don't lose the end of your wire, and it doesn't unspool everywhere. And so those, they don't have to be exact. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and pass the wire through the loop at the top. Okay, so now we've got our 4 pieces of wire. You can use some nylon pliers too. Hang on. So nylon pliers are really useful for straightening up wire. So you hold them on the wire and then you pull the wire through. And it sort of work hardens the wire and it straightens the wire a bit. I don't do that because I can't be bothered. Well, I've only got 3 pieces of wire here now. Oh, here's the other one. Okay, so I've got my 4 pieces of wire. Now, everyone does this differently, okay? And some people don't do anything like this at all. What I do is find the middle, roughly. Hold. I always forget I've got to show everything on camera. So I divide them into 2 sets of 2. And then I'm going to do a couple of twists quite tight twists. So what was that, about 5 twists? Okay, so I've got about 1 centimetre in the middle there, twisted up. Doesn't have to look perfect. Now I'm going to take my round nose pliers, hold it as far down as I can because I only want a tiny little hole, and I'm going to bend that around like that. No, hang on. Yeah, that'll do. And then I'm going to bend one side. So basically, I'm bending them around the pliers to make a tiny little loop in the middle. Okay. Now, I do it that way because I think it makes for a smaller loop, basically, and so you can't see too much of the wires in between the head and the body. I've seen other people put a bead over the top of wires, which I think looks really nice, but I haven't really worked out how to do that. I guess you could use, maybe get a sort of a flattish bead and use a very thin, like maybe a 32 gauge to sort of attach it. I don't know. Anyway, I haven't done it, and I'm not going to do it now because this is a tutorial and don't want things to go wrong. So now I'm putting the, oh my God, it's so difficult to see, the legs through the bead, and it's going to be super loose, okay, so don't worry about it, it's all fine. Now I'm going to add the head. Okay, so now when you hold it tight, you've got the legs, 4 on each side, you've got the loop at the bottom, the bum, or the body, the legs, and then the head. I would usually just sort of make sure that the loop is sort of going that way. I mean, it can go the other way. It doesn't matter. Do whatever makes you happy. But you can see I cut way too much wire there, didn't I? But I'm always worried that I'm not going to have enough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut off the excess wire that I don't need. Actually, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make the loop first so that, concentrate on the middle bit of the wire. Don't worry about this stuff right now. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm holding the end flat so that I know how this needs to be bent so that it looks the same. Okay, so I'm doing a bend down first, and this is to make it look like the proper little pinhead loop. Then I'm holding it with my pliers, and I'm going to try and do a similar size loop to that one just so it looks nice. So I'm going to hold it with the pliers as close to the bend as I can get it, push the wire over the top of the pliers, down, okay. I like leaving this tail so I can use it. Now rotate the pliers 90 degrees so that I can then go underneath the pliers like that. I don't know if you can see. So I've gone around the bottom plier, and I've gone underneath as close to the wire as I can get it. And then I'm going to cut the excess off. I'm going to have to look over the top of my glasses again. Okay, so I've got the loops what's that, symmetrical, the same at each end. And I mean, to be fair, that's quite a big loop on the front end, but it's a big loop on the back end, so you don't have to do them the same, obviously. You can do whatever you like. But the front end is like is the pinhead one, so it's kind of anyway, you can see what I mean. So now it's held together, but it's still super loose, okay, but that's fine. We don't need to worry about that. Now I'm going to splay out the legs. So again, I just kind of work out which one's going where by feel. So that one looks like it's, let's have a look. That one looks like it's closest to that side. That one looks like it's closest to that side. That'll do. So by the way, I've got the loop on the top and then the cross where it crosses over underneath. So I've splayed those legs out, and now I'm going to splay these ones out. So you're kind of almost undoing that twist, but you're not undoing it all the way. That's still twisted up around the body, but you're undoing the twist underneath. I hope that makes sense. You're undoing the twist that you made with the 4 wires around each other, but not all the way. You keep the twist on the top, but then at the bottom, it always focuses on my face. Maybe if I put it there, I have a spider on my face. Right. Now you're going to look at the legs. Now I haven't actually decided what beads to use for the legs, but when I looked at this, I saw, of course it's turquoise, but in the light, it's sort of shining with some pinks and some yellows, I think. So I thought that I would use some turquoise, some pinks, some yellows or golds. You can use whatever you like. What I would say is, when you're going super close to the spider's body, the first bit, I would use something very, very small, either seed beads or bugle beads, the long, thin ones with the hole in them. Hang on, bugle beads, here we go. Those ones. So they're long and thin, you can get them in different lengths, and yeah, you can use them. But what you want to do is you want to use something small, close to the body, so that it covers up the wire of the legs, because the body and the head are going to be close together. So I thought I would use, okay, I'm back, because I hadn't chosen the beads beforehand. I wasn't sure what beads I was going to use, and it took me a while to get it right. So this is what I've done. I've done 5 light pink seed beads. Then I've done a 4mm, 6mm, 4mm hot pink rondelle. Then another 5 pink seed beads. Pisses me off that this isn't. Then I've gone for kind of an aqua rondelle. I think that's probably 6mm. Then a little flower one, which is that sort of thing, flower with a hole in the middle. And then another 5 seed beads and another 4mm hot pink rondelle. Sometimes when I'm not happy with something, it's not, you know, once you've done a few more legs, it can come together. But what we'll get, so we'll finish this leg off first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut the top off the leg, leaving enough room to do a very small round curl at the top. Oh, what's it called? A little so right on the edge of the round nose pliers, and then just around. And I usually go, I do a sort of a not too forgot, just leave a little bit of room. Okay, leave like half a millimetre, half a millimetre. You need a bit of give for when you're going to be bending the legs. I don't like it. Maybe they can bend there. Oh yeah, that looks okay. Usually I try and bend the legs on the joint of a larger bead, because at the end of the day I kind of want it to look a bit like spider legs, obviously. So so I've bent that leg, and what I do is I bend that leg back, and that one's going to be back, that one's going to be back, and the two front ones are going to be bent forwards. So I'm going to put the rest of the beads on all the legs and finish all the legs off, and then come back. Okay, I'm back. I've done all the legs now, and it looks much better. I didn't like it, now I like it. I mean, it's bright, you know, it's very bright, but some people like bright, so there you go. So what isn't done yet is to tighten it all up. So I've put all the beads on the legs, I've made little round curls at each leg end to stop all the beads coming off, but the beads are still a little bit loose on the legs, but that's okay. If they're too loose, you can tighten up the curls on the end, but what I'm going to do first is tighten up the body. Now, on the bum, I did one curl, right? I'm going to one loop. I'm going to use my round nose pliers, put them into the loop, and I'm going to tighten it up slowly, carefully. That has tightened up. All the beads are now tight because they've been pushed a little bit down the legs. And I think that doesn't look too bad in terms of the wire visibility there. Some people might not like that. I think it's okay personally. Right, I'm just going to sort out this one at the front because it's gone a little bit skew with. That'll do. So now I've got a spider with tight legs, and you can see how I've bent the legs. I tried to bend them at a joint because I think that looks more natural. I mean, you know, it's a pink and blue sparkly spider. It doesn't have to look natural, but I just think that looks spider shaped. But you can also see I've just bent them down slightly as well. And yeah, I think he looks pretty cute. Now, in terms of hanging him up, I'm going to put the chain on his bum to hang him up, and then on his front legs, you see the little loops on the front legs? I'm going to put I'm going to do it off camera because you understand what I'm talking about. I'm going to put a jump ring through those two legs, through those two little feet, and then I'm going to dangle a you know, one of them pendants, a big sparkly one underneath, so it's like he's holding it. But I'm going to do that off camera because, you know, it's all a bit boring, isn't it? But there you go, there's the spider, and hopefully that helps.